Congratulations, you beat the game. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the final cutscene. That is, unless you're playing these games. If so, prepare for some anger, disappointment, and confusion. These endings have spawned petitions, lawsuits, and even debates about the role of video games in society. They may not be satisfying, but they are at least worthy of discussion. Also, beware of spoilers. Mass Effect 3. The original Mass Effect trilogy is all about choice, with players' decisions directly influencing the story. If you played the original Mass Effect, your choices actually carry over into Mass Effect 2. By the time you fire up Mass Effect 3, you've got 2 games worth of history informing the climax of the story. BioWare promised a multitude of unique, personalized endings, but it's not what they delivered. During Mass Effect 3's conclusion, players have 3 options, which provided 3 different endings, regardless of anything you've done in the previous games. While BioWare promised that the game would contain a real proper conclusion, none of the outcomes sat well with fans. Naturally, those fans rebelled, creating a petition, amassing over 13,000 votes, asking for a new, more complete ending. One player took his complaints to the FTC, while the Better Business Bureau's blog accused BioWare of false advertising. BioWare listened, and 4 months after Mass Effect 3's launch, they released a free Extended Edition update, which added cutscenes explaining what happened to various characters and showing how the player's choices throughout the franchise ended up affecting the galaxy.
The war is over. The Reapers have been defeated.
Final Fantasy IX. Final Fantasy IX isn't the first role-playing game to pull out a bigger bad guy after players beat the game's main villain. It's not even the first Final Fantasy game to do it. But even among fans, Final Fantasy IX's boss, Necron, stands out. Because for the majority of the game, the main villain is the narcissistic and ambitious sorcerer Kuja, who is one of the best and most memorable bad guys in Final Fantasy history. Fans did all kinds of mental gymnastics in order to explain Necron's existence, but all we know for certain is that Necron's going to be the subject of online debates for years to come. After all, fan theories are a lot more satisfying than admitting that, as good as Final Fantasy IX is, its ending just kind of sucks. Middle-earth: Shadow of War. After the main campaign of Middle-earth: Shadow of War ends, players are asked to wage war against Sauron's forces by conquering Mordor's numerous fortresses. Once you take over a stronghold, you also have to keep it, which is hard to do, given that Sauron's army strikes back regularly during the 10-stage, multi-hour Shadow Wars that precede the game's true ending.
We are meant to destroy Sauron! Sauron cannot be destroyed!
Even if you've been playing the game regularly, you'll enter the Shadow Wars woefully unprepared. Your orcs won't be powerful enough, and you won't have enough of them. If you want to beat the game, you'll need to earn in-game currency until you can buy the army you need to conquer the Dark Lord's forces. This is almost impossible to do without spending your actual, real-life money. Shadow of War lets players buy loot boxes, which contain powerful orcs that can boost your army's ranks. While many players claim to have made it through without spending a cent, the allegations remain, and Middle-earth: Shadow of War's bonus ending won't ever be free of that microtransaction stench. Knights of the Old Republic 2: The Sith Lords. In 2003, Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic delivered one of the best Star Wars experiences of all time. Unfortunately, Knights of the Old Republic 2: The Sith Lords didn't quite live up to expectations. With an incredibly short deadline, developers were forced to cut much of the game's content, including its planned ending. As a result, the game was left with countless dangling plot threads, as well as a climax that was anything but climactic. Sure, you get some answers, but they're largely presented via cutscenes, and not the action-packed, story-heavy set pieces that the first game did so well. The fates of many main characters are left unresolved, and you never meet Revan, the former Sith Lord that you've been tracking for the entire game. Fans were quick to blame LucasArts, but designer and Obsidian co-founder Chris Avellone thinks his studio deserves some criticism too. He claims that Obsidian's vision was too ambitious, and that he and his fellow designers should have cut content earlier to keep the game's scope manageable. Still, Knights of the Old Republic 2 does have one happy ending: the fan-made restored content mod, which revived some of what was lost pre-release. Borderlands. Borderlands is all about loot, offering players over 3 million potential weapons to collect. When your bounty hunter arrives on Pandora, they're searching for a mythical vault full of nasty alien weapons. You fight your way across the planet, acquiring everything you need to open the vault, defeat the ancient universe-destroying monster that's inside, and for your troubles, you get a cutscene? Yep. That's it. A game that's built around getting big bad weapons ends with you discovering a collection of the biggest and baddest weapons ever made and doesn't let you play with a single one of them. In hindsight, senior designer Paul Hellquist admitted, "We didn't know how people were going to react. Obviously, the reaction hasn't been as strong as we had hoped. At least the developer Gearbox learned its lesson. Borderlands 2's final boss spews all kinds of goodies when it dies, sending players home very, very happy before the credits roll." The Last of Us. At the end of The Last of Us, the hero Joel must make a choice. He's been protecting a young girl named Ellie, who might be the key to stopping the plague that's ravaged humanity. Unfortunately, the only way to make a cure will kill her. Joel can either save Ellie or save mankind. He chooses Ellie, kills the rebels, and lies to her.
They've stopped looking for a cure.
Humanity's fate remains unknown, though judging by The Last of Us 2's trailers, things don't go well. Did Joel make the right choice? The fate of the entire world was at stake, but Ellie is Joel's surrogate daughter, stepping in for the one he lost at the very beginning of the game. It's a thorny and morally ambiguous issue, and while the debates rage on, there's no right or wrong answer. For most of the game, Joel is presented as a good guy. Watching him make this decision feels out of character. This depressing and unsettling conclusion makes some players feel like bad people themselves. After all, they've been controlling Joel. His decisions might as well be theirs. Most fans agree that while The Last of Us reaches a profound and deeply emotional conclusion, they're still not sure how to actually feel about it. Thanks for watching. Click the SVG icon to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Plus, check out all this cool stuff we know you'll love too.